Hi, this is Jane Gates, and I'm here with a few tips on planting some seeds indoors. To start your seeds indoors, we have a tray here that's really handy. You can buy these plastic trays with larger or smaller size little holes. We've put in some seed. You can see that it's a very fine soil, your seed mixes that you want to use here. One of the things I do that is a little different than they normally suggest is when you get your package of seed mix, you'll frequently find that the soil is very dry inside. Sometimes it's still moist, but if you've had it for a while or it's been on the shelves, it may be dried out. So I actually sprinkle a fair amount of water in there to moisten it so it has a nice moist feel to it. You fill your tray, I water it, again, let it drain out so your soil is moist throughout. Then you take your seeds, certain seeds, very fine ones, might be best mixed with a little bit of sand, and sprinkle them in here. The larger ones, you'll probably want to put one per cell that's in here. Some plants that germinate poorly, you may want to put two little seeds in and pick out, if they both germinate, pick out the least strong of your seedlings when they come up. Always make sure you have a little label. You can label it with ink or with pencil, and make sure you know what's in each seed tray. If you're anything like me, oh, I'll remember, no problem, and then, oh my gosh, what did I plant? Several weeks or even months later. The nice thing about these seed trays is you can get plastic domes that go over the top. That'll keep the moisture in. It'll keep them from drying out nearly so fast, give them really good light. Direct sun will probably make this fog up, so if you can make sure, morning sun would be fine. Don't give it the hot afternoon sun. And keep checking them every day. Probably, well, you'll start seeing the little seedlings coming up depending on the seeds you want within 2 days, sometimes 2 weeks. Sometimes it even takes a month depending on the variety of seeds you've planted. And once they start setting their full first leaves, which will look a little different than their true leaves that come right after that, you can start letting them have a little more air and eventually take the dome right off. They'll be ready to pop out of their little cells and plant.